So today we have to start accounts payable. Let's do it. So accounts payable. This component is used to process the business transactions relating to suppliers or vendors or creditors. So during the course of the business, in the case of manufacturing companies, right, they purchase the raw materials, they purchase the packing materials, right, consumables, etc., etc. And in the case of trading companies also, they purchase the finished goods from other sources, right? In the case of services also, right? They purchase the services, they hide the services, etc., etc. So these are all called vendors or suppliers, right? So the business transactions relating to suppliers are purchases. So when we purchase the raw materials, stores and spares, packing materials, services, etc., etc., we receive the purchase invoices from the suppliers. So how to process the purchase invoices? Similarly, we have to make the payments to suppliers. Sometimes you make the full payments and sometimes you make the part payments. In that case, how to process full payments and part payments. And in some cases, the vendors or the suppliers may ask us to make the payments in advance. So when you make the payments to vendors in advance, how to process them? Then how to process the purchase returns. And the most important thing is processing of automatic payment programs, right? Electronic payment programs. So purchase invoices, payments to vendors, both full payments and part payments, advances to vendors, payment through automatic payment programs, purchase returns, TDS, tax deducted at source. In India, under Section 194C of Indian Income Tax Act, you have to reduce the tax in case of some vendors, and the tax has to be deposited to central government treasury, right? This is called tax deducted at source. So how to process the tax deduct source? So in order to process all these business transactions, we have to maintain the master record for every vendor or supplier with reference to company code. Here, in every module, first of all, we have to maintain the master record. In the general ledger accounting, we maintain the master record for every GL account. In accounts payable, compulsory, we have to maintain the master record for every supplier. So master record means, remember, in SAP, always the master records are represented with the numbers. GL account master record is identified with a number, right? Similarly, the vendor master record is identified with a number. So from where the number has to be taken for the vendor master record. Can anybody tell me from where you have taken the number for the GL account? Can you tell me? Anybody
Sir,
answer?
account group, from account group, the number for GL accounts are taken.
Sorry?
From account group, numbers are taken
Yes.
For the GL account.
Exactly. Similarly, the vendor number has to be taken from vendor account groups, right? So first, we have to maintain the vendor account groups. So what is the vendor account groups? Based on the similarities in the master data maintenance requirements, all the vendors are grouped together, which are called vendor account groups. The master record for the individual vendors are created under the respective vendor account groups. Here, the logic of configuration, right, is same in every module. This is called baseline configuration. In the general ledger accounting, right, you create GL account groups. For the GL account groups, we assign the number ranges. Then the individual GL accounts are created under the respective GL account groups. In accounts payable also, we have to define vendor account groups. For every vendor account group, we have to assign the number ranges, and the individual vendor accounts are created under the respective vendor account groups. Similarly, in account receivable also, first we maintain customer account groups. For every customer account group, we assign the number ranges and individual customer accounts are created under the respective customer account groups. So this is called baseline configuration. As every vendor account is identified with a number, we create and assign the number range for every vendor account group. At the time of creating the vendor account, the user enters the account group under which the account is to be created. Then the system will take the number from the number range of that vendor account group and assigns it to the master account. So majorly, first of all, we have to define the vendor account groups. So what is the vendor account groups? Based on the similarities and the master data maintenance requirements, we group the vendors together. For example, vendors can be classified as local vendors, domestic vendors, and foreign vendors. Otherwise, we can classify vendors like vendors for raw materials, vendors for stores and spares, vendors for expenses. Vendors for expenses means vendors for services like your statutory auditors, internal auditors, management consultants, legal advisors, tax consultants, solicitors, underwriters, and secretarial services, right? Like that, we purchase number of services from the different organizations, right? These organizations are called vendors for expenses or vendors for services. Then legal vendors. Legal vendors means these are the different legal agencies or governmental agencies to whom you have to pay number of different types of taxes. Income tax authorities, GST authorities, Factories Act authorities, company law board authorities, right? Like that, these are the organizations to which you have to pay number of taxes yearly or whenever they are required. They are called legal vendors. Then one-time vendors. One-time vendors means these are the vendors with whom you transact very rarely. For example, suppliers of fixed assets, suppliers of vehicles, four-wheelers, right? Suppliers of plant and machineries. And you purchase the buildings, right? The building organizer or the builders. So do you purchase the plant and machineries regularly as you purchase raw materials? No. Do you purchase the four-wheelers or heavy vehicles regularly as you purchase raw materials? No. So the vendors with whom we transact very rarely or just now and then, they are called one-time vendors. So you can classify your vendors like local vendors and foreign vendors, or vendors for raw materials, vendors for stores and spares, vendors for expenses, legal vendors, one-time vendors. Or, remember, or local vendors for materials, local vendors for stores and spares. Local means domestic. Domestic vendors for expenses, domestic legal vendor, domestic one-time vendor. Foreign vendors for raw materials, foreign vendors for stores and spares, foreign vendors for expenses, foreign legal vendors, foreign one-time vendors. Like that, you can classify vendors, right, in any way. But how do you know, right, how many vendor account groups you have to create? There isn't any predefined principles whereby we can decide always these are the vendor account groups. No, that type of principles are not available. So how do we decide how many number of vendor account groups you have to create as a consultant, right? See, normally we have to look into two factors. One is similarities in the master data maintenance requirements. Similarities in the master data maintenance requirements means, say for example, in the case of vendors for raw materials, right, we have to pay purchase tax. In the case of vendors for raw materials, in the case of purchase of materials, we have to pay purchase taxes, right? So in all the master records of vendors from whom we purchase the raw materials, we have to maintain the purchase tax information. Then in the case of vendors from whom you purchase the services, forget about GST, right? I'm talking about before introduction of GST. There are vendors from whom we purchase the services. So in that case, when you purchase the services, right, you have to pay service tax. There is no purchase tax. There is service tax. So in the master records of all the vendors from whom you purchase the services, you have to maintain the purchase tax information. So this is called similarities. In the vendors for raw materials, you have to maintain the purchase tax information, but not service tax information. But in the case of vendors for services, you have to maintain the service tax information, but not purchase tax. Clear? So this is called similarities in the master data maintenance requirements. And you have to look into the balance sheet display requirements. In the balance sheet, how you have to classify your vendors, under what headings you have to classify your vendors. Based on this, we create that many number of vendor account groups. Then, say for example, these are the vendor account groups we create. Vendors for raw materials. See, vendors for raw materials, vendors for stores and spares, vendors for expenses, and others. Now, after creating these vendor account groups, we define the number ranges. These are called number range numbers, right? And for each number range number, we assign number range interval. This number range interval can be anything. You can use up to 10 digits. For example, for the number range number 01, right? You assign 1 lakh to 2,99,999. For the number range number 02, you assign 3 lakhs to 3,99,909 and so on. After defining number ranges, you link these number range numbers to the respective vendor account groups. So first you link the number range values or the number range intervals to the number range numbers. Then the number range numbers are linked to or assigned to vendor account groups. Then when you create the master records for the vendors under the respective account groups, the system takes the number automatically. For example, today we are creating the master record for the vendor from whom we are purchasing raw materials, right? That master record is created under this account group. Then the system takes the number 1 lakh. For the second vendor from whom we are purchasing raw materials, it takes 1 lakh 1. For the third vendor, from whom we are purchasing raw materials, right, it will take 1 lakh 2 and so on. Today, you are creating the master record for the statutory auditors, right? Then their master records are to be created under account group vendors for expenses. Then the system will take the number 4 lakhs. You are creating the master records for internal auditors. The system will take number 4 lakh 1. You are creating the master record for solicitors. The system will take the number 4 lakh 2 and so on. Just a minute. Yeah. So this is the concept of vendor account groups and number ranges, right? Then, from the entry point of view, what are the functions of the vendor account groups? A number range for assigning the account number to the master record. So the system takes the number from the number range of the respective vendor account groups. Then the field status for the vendor master records created under the respective group. Yesterday, right, I told you now, the field status for master records is controlled by account groups. The field status for GL master records is controlled by GL account groups. The field status for vendor master records is controlled by vendor account groups and so on, right? So what is the field status for vendor account, for vendor master records? That I will explain you. See, at every vendor account group level, you select some fields as required entry, some fields as optional entry, some fields as suppressed entry. Then, when you create the master record for the vendors under the respective groups, whatever the fields you select as suppressed entry will not be displayed at all in the master records. Whatever the fields you select as required entry will become mandatory fields in the master records. That I will show you practically at the time of creating master record. Just a minute. Number three, whether number assignment is external or internal. You know, there are two types of number assignments, right? External number assignment and internal number assignment. In the case of external number assignment, the number to the master record is assigned by the user. In the case of internal number assignment, the number is assigned by the system itself from the defined number range. Then other important points relating to vendor account groups and vendor master records. The SAP R3 system works on the principles of numbers as opposed to names for the master records. That's why everywhere, right, we use the numbers only for the master records. GL account number, vendor account number, customer account number, asset number, and so on. Each master record has a unique number. We need this number to display or change the master record and to post the vendor account. Means all the business transactions relating to vendors are processed with reference to vendor account number only. The vendor master record number is assigned automatically by SAP R3 system in the sequential order. Continue. After this, please add. If number assignment is internal, see, the vendor master record number is assigned automatically by SAP R3 system in sequential order if the number assignment is internal. Or manually, continue, manually by the user, I will come to your question, Santosh. Manually by the user, if the number assignment to the master record is external. Okay. Now, SAP R3 ensures that numbers assigned are always unique. Means no two vendors can have the same number. Every vendor will have a unique and separate number. There will not be two vendors with the same number. The system selects the next number from the interval. When the account number is entered manually, SAP R3 checks the number against the existing master records. And a vendor account has the same number for all the company codes. For example, you have three company codes under the group. A company code, B company code, and C company code, right? And XYZ vendor is there. So the XYZ vendor is supplying materials to all the three company codes. In that case, we have to create the master record for the XYZ vendor in all the three company codes. Then his number will be same. Okay. Now, Santosh has posed one question. One vendor supply materials and services also. We will create one vendor code or two different code. No, only one vendor code you create either under the vendors for raw materials or under the vendors for services. When the same entity, right, is supplying materials and services, you can create only one vendor master record, right? Either under the account group vendors for raw materials or under the account group vendors for services. It's only for the purpose of convenience of processing the business transactions. That's it. It's not a legal requirement, right? That's the reason why you create only one vendor master record under either group. And if the location is same, again it depends. If it is a different entity from the vendor, you create two master records. Okay. For the branches, there is no branch-wise vendors. Okay. Suppose vendor is there and is supplying materials to you from three different branches. No. In that case also, you create only vendor master record only. Clear, Santosh?
Yeah, sir. Sometimes what happens is, entity may be one, but for example, GST number would be different because, they're operating from two different location. So
Yeah,
I
GST
wonder.
numbers is so, even though GST numbers are different, right? See, plant-wise GST numbers may be there, right? Manufacturing units GST numbers may be there, even though the GST numbers are different, right? Same entity means only one vendor master record is created,
Okay, okay,
right?
okay, okay. In finance, right, sir? In finance module.
I'm sorry.
In finance module, right, sir?
Yeah,
Because
finance
in the
module.
because for example, in the module, the purchase order need to be printed or something, so it may have some issues if I'm not.
Yeah, there, right? The purchases orders are generated plant-wise, right? That we discuss
Okay.
later on. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Now, in the real time, the accounts payable component is integrated with the metals management component, MM. See, here, metals management is integrated with the general ledger through accounts payable. Okay. So, in that case, when the MM is implemented, right, it is integrated to FI. When MM is implemented, compulsory, it is integrated with FI, right? In that case, the purchase orders, the purchase invoices, etc., are processed from metals management module. And accounts payable component of finance accounting is used to process the payments to vendors. If the metals management is not implemented, then all the business transactions relating to vendors are processed from accounts payable component of financial accounting only. So at this point of time, right, I'm explaining you accounts payable in standalone position. Means MM is not implemented and that is not integrated to FI. After controlling, right, I will also train you how the MM is integrated with FI. Then how to process the invoices, purchase orders, etc., from MM, right? Now, every vendor master record contains the data under 3 segments. Number 1, general data, company code data, purchase data. If you remember, every GL account master record contains the data under 3 segments. 2 segments. Chart of accounts data, company code data, right? Similarly, vendor master record also contains the data under 3 segments. General data, company code data, purchase data. Why SAP always categorizes the data like this? Suppose if you go back to general ledger, GL master record, whatever the data you maintain the chart of account segment is same in all the company codes using the same chart of accounts, so that you can reduce the data footprint, right? Similarly, in the case of vendor master record also, right, the general data is shared by all the company codes in which is a vendor. I will explain you. You can easily understand. See, vendor master record contains the data under general data segment, company code data, and purchase data. See, general data. It contains information like vendor name, number, address, bank information, tax information, and contact person information, etc. This information is stored at the client level so that this information can be used by all the company codes in which is a vendor. You know, whenever some data is stored at the client level, that data can be shared by all the company codes of the client, right? Say, for example, we have 3 company codes: A company code, B company code, and C company code, right? Now, one vendor is there, XYZ Limited. Then this vendor is supplying the materials. This vendor is supplying the materials to all the company codes. A company code, B company code, C company code in our group. Please remember, in our group. In that case, we have to maintain the master record for the same vendor in all 3 company codes. Then his name will be same in all the company codes. His address will be same in all the company codes. His bank information will be same in all the company codes. And his GST information will be same in all the company codes. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? Others, please.
Yes, sir.
Right? That's why
Yes,
this is the
sir.
common data, right? So this common data is maintained in general data segment, which in turn, this common data is stored at the client level so that is shared by all the company codes. As a result, what happens? It is enough to maintain the common data or the general data only once. Even if you have the 10 company codes, right? It is enough to maintain this general data of the vendor only once. So we can reduce the data footprint. See, the general data is common in all the company codes in which is a vendor. Next, number 2, company code data. It contains information like payment terms. For example, payment terms means credit period. Payment methods. Payment methods means you make the payment to vendor through check or through bank transfer or through RTGS, right? Or through net transfer. These are called payment methods, right? Then reconciliation account number. So what is the reconciliation account number? I will explain you. Tolerance groups, etc. So this is the data which is this is the sum of the data. Lot of data you maintain, right? But you cannot remember all those fields. So the company code data, it contains information like credit period, payment methods, reconciliation account number, tolerance groups, etc. This information is stored at the company code level so that this information is specific and available to that company code only. Means XYZ vendor is supplying the materials to all the 3 company codes in our group. So his general data, name, address, bank information will be same in all the company codes. But the same vendor, please remember, the same vendor is giving 10 days credit to company code A. He is giving 30 days credit to company code B. He is giving 45 days to company code C. So same vendor may give different credit periods to different company codes in the same group, right? So this data is maintained under company code segment. Whatever the data you maintain in the company code segment is specific to that company code only. So the company code data is stored at the company code level. Then purchase data. It contains information like purchase order currency, terms of delivery, minimum order quantity, etc., which is used by the purchase department of the company code. This I will explain you, right? This I will show you at the time of integration. Okay. Now, certain specifications entered in the vendor master record, like payment terms, are automatically defaulted each time when we are processing the business transactions relating to that vendor. This also will show you at the time of posting the invoices. Yeah. Just a minute. Okay. Now let us see the configuration. First, we have to maintain the vendor account groups. SPRO, financial accounting, accounts receivable and accounts payable, vendor accounts, master data, preparations for creating vendor master data, define account groups with streamlined vendors. Click on new entities. Account group is equal SS27. Account group is equal SS27. I am using our company code name only. Meaning, name or description, all are same. What is there in the material? Name, right? name is equal to vendors for raw materials, SS27, or simply vendors for raw materials. Vendors for raw materials. Look at the scheme, field status, general data, company code data, purchase data. So general data contains some fields, company code data contains some fields, purchase data contains some fields, right? So double click on general data. Sorry, company code data. First, let us do according to material. Double click on company code data. Double click on account management. Select reconciliation account as required entry. See, system default selection is optional entry. Make it as required entry. Look at the screen. Here, we are selecting reconciliation account at the account group SS27. So when you create the master record for the vendor under this account group, compulsory the user has to maintain reconciliation account. This field becomes mandatory field, and other fields have been selected as optional entry. Means the system will display these fields. That's it. Sometimes when it is necessary, you maintain the information. When it is not necessary, you need not maintain the information. But reconciliation account compulsory should be maintained in the vendor master account. So what is reconciliation account? We discuss later on. Here you have to understand how the field status for vendor master records is controlled by vendor account groups. Click on save and enter. Write down the table name T077K. T077K. Now, let us create one more vendor account group. Click on next entry button. This is called next entry button. The account group is SS2A. Just like that. The account group is equal to SS2A. Meaning, name or description is equal to. Meaning, name or description is equal to. Or name. Vendors for expenses. Double click on company code data. Double click on account management. Select a reconciliation account as required entry. Click on save. Now, look at this. Here I told you the field status for vendor master record is controlled by vendor account groups. Like how? I'm going to explain you more clearly. Here, if you double click on the general data, right? Here I told you general data contains some fields, company code data contains some fields, purchase data contains some fields. Now, if you double click on the general data, right? The fields in the general data are subcategorized, like fields relating to address, fields related to communication, and so on. Now, if you double click on address, these are the fields. So, the fields relating to address are divided into 3 pages. This 3 pages is not standard, right? Based on the resolution of your system, the number of pages will be adjusted. But the fields are same. Here, these are the fields, right? If you go to next page, in the second page, these are the fields. Go to next page. This is the called next page button. These are the fields. Now, here for every field, system default status is optional entry. Okay. Now, here I don't want to see. I'm coming to Boparna. Please wait.
Sure, sir.
See, form of address. I don't want to maintain this field at all. In that case, select suppress. Then name 3 and name 4. Normally, right? Name 1, vendor name. Name 2, alias name, maybe alias name. Sorry. Some vendors may have the alias name, but I don't want to maintain name 3 and name 4. Select suppress. I don't want to see these fields. Now go to next page. right? I don't want to maintain street 2 suppress, street 3 suppress, street 4 street 5 suppress. So whatever the fields you don't want to maintain, suppress them straight away. System will not display these fields while creating vendor master records. Clear, no? But don't change the system default status, right? Now, let us go back. Double click on communication. Here, you have to contact the vendor, right? How do you contact with the vendor? Sometimes through mails, sometimes you want to call them directly, right? For that, we have to have the mail address and we have to have the telephone number compulsory in the master record, right? In that case, mobile telephone, make it as required entry. Then internet mail address, make it as required entry. Sometimes some vendors may have the websites, right? Some vendors may not have the websites. In that case, in whoever cases the vendors are having the websites, right? We want to maintain the website address in our master record. And whoever vendors for whom there is no websites, right? I don't want to maintain the website address. So you can select it as optional entry. Clear, no? That's how, right? See, these settings you are doing at account group level SS2A. So when you create the master record for the vendor under SS2A, right? The fields will be populated accordingly. Okay. Then control these fields. Then payment transactions, bank details, alternate payee account number, alternate payee in document, DME details, data medium exchange. Then contact person. So suppose you are purchasing some steel products from Tata Steels, right? So with whom in the sales department of the Tata company, you have to contact, for example, salesperson of the sales department of Tata Steels Limited, right? In that case, we have to maintain the, right, contact person name and his mobile number, right? In that case, self-required. Following everybody? That's how the fields to be maintained in the vendor master record are controlled by account groups. That's what I told you yesterday. The field status for vendor master records is controlled by vendor account groups. Clear? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Bopanna, tell me, what's your doubt?
What is that last column? I think you told yesterday, right? When we were doing the
Yeah, I
accounts
will cover. Display, you're talking about display,
display.
right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I will cover it.
Okay. So,
Yeah. Now, write down. Here some space is there, right? I told you the table name.
I think
Vendor
no, sir.
account group table name, did I tell you?
I don't think so, sir.
Huh?
No, sir. I think no.
Sorry?
T077K.
T077K. I told you, na?
Yeah, sir. Yeah, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now you write down. The vendor account groups. And the number ranges for vendor account groups. And the number ranges for vendor account groups. Are defined at client level. So that they can be used by all the company codes. Technically, it is possible technically it is possible to assign one number range to multiple vendor account groups. To multiple vendor account groups. But normally, we define a separate number range. But normally we define a separate number range for every vendor account group. Okay. Say for example, vendors for raw materials. So you have the 3 company codes. So in every company code, vendors for raw materials may be there. So it can, once you define the number range, once you define the vendor account group, it can be used by all the companies. Yeah, Injarappa.
Hello,
Yeah, tell me.
sir. In the contact person, when we select the required entry for the contact person, do we need to create any ID for contact person in FI module?
No. You just maintain the name and contact number.
Contact number.
Yes.
No need to create any ID for contact person. Yes?
No.
Okay, sir. That's the.
Now, creation of number ranges for vendor accounts. Path is same as above. See, create number ranges for vendor accounts. Click on change intervals. Now, here in the training class, you have to follow one logic. Like, first of all, you have to identify, see, this is called number range number. Okay. This is called number range number, and these are number range intervals. So first of all, you have to identify what is the number range number we can use. Okay. Because these number ranges are created at the client level, right? That's why you cannot use the number range numbers already used, and you cannot use the number range values already used. I'm sorry, today I'm feeling a little bit this thing. Okay, so first of all, you have to identify the number range number. Hash 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is there. $8, $R, percentage A, percentage B. So these number range numbers you cannot use, right? So, for example, $8 is there, right? So we can use $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, $6, $7, $9. $R is there, right? So you can use $A, $B, $C, $D like that. Percentage A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S. Percentage T you can use. Percentage R you can, percentage X you can use, and so on. Yeah, Bopanna.
Hi, sir. So in case of GL account, the range number was almost same, right, sir, for all the things? In case of GL accounts, like 0, 1, 1, 9, something like that. For GL accounts when we're
Yes.
creating. But in this
Yes.
case, it is different, right? Each.
Yes, it is a little bit different.
Okay, yeah.
So here, I want to take $1, $2. Okay. No, $1, $2 is there. Sorry, hash 1, 2 is there. $8 is there, right? So you can use $1, $2, $3, etc. So I want to use, so 2 account groups means we have to create 2 number ranges. So I want to use $1 and $2. Okay. Then how to find out the number in intervals, what you can use? For that, go to menu interval, free intervals. Right? If you go to interval and free intervals, the system will display what are the intervals you can use. Yeah, Bopanna.
No,
Bopana
sir.
or Enjarappa? Who
No,
has
no.
raised the hand?
I don't have any question.
Engineer, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, if you don't find the free intervals in the interval menu, so what we can do?
Yeah. See, that situation you don't face in the real-time implementation projects, right? Because you
Okay.
get the fresh software, no, you can start using from 1 up
Mm-hmm.
to 10 digits. But in our
Okay.
training class, I will tell you. If you don't find the free intervals, what to do, I will tell you. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. See, go to menu interval, free intervals. So these are the intervals what you can use. Right? So lot of numbers people have used, right? Say for example, if the number range status is NR 0, we can delete it. That is one way where you can find the free intervals. Okay. So I'm deleting $1, $2. Save. So you can better delete if the number range status is 0, right? I'm deleting. Okay, I'm deleting these number ranges only. Now, suppose you don't have the 0 number ranges, right? In that case, how to make the room within the number ranges you have defined, right? See, for example, 9,251 to 9,299 has been used, right? Now, 9,255 number has been used. See, for one number range, 9 lakh, it is, 90 lakh. It is 90 lakh 251 to 90 lakh 299 has been used, right? In that case, I want to make room in this number, right? For that, first of all, you have to look into, right, NR status. 90 lakh 255 has been used, right? Then we can make it like this. 90 lakh 260. Remaining number ranges you can use now. Click on save. For example, 4 lakh 488 to 4 lakh 600 has been used, right? Now, in order to make the number room for it, 4 lakh 492 has been used, no? So, two number can be some number after 4 lakh 492. Let us say 4 lakh 500, right? Then, like that, you can make the room for the numbers. Following, say for example, you take this number to this number, right? And this is the NR status. So what you can do is 200000030, which is beyond this number, right? Click on save.
So basically, we are extending
got
that
it
number
now?
range, right, sir?
You got it, no? So you can adjust the two number beyond this NR status. Okay.
So it means that we can use the buffer ranges like GL account buffer range.
Yes, like that. Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Now, if you go to menu interval, free intervals, right? See, 2 lakh 551 to 2 lakh 555 use, right? Then 4 lakh 501 to 4 lakh 650 use. Don't use more than 25 numbers in your practice also, because others may have the same problem, right? There are number of students who are doing the practice here. So I want to use the numbers like 4 lakh 501 to 4 lakh 524 for one number range, right? Then for second number range, 4 lakh 525 to 4 lakh 535. 10 numbers are enough for the second group. That's how you have to arrange the number range numbers. Clear, no, everybody?
Yeah, sir. One question I have, sir.
Tell me.
Hello.
Yeah, tell me.
Yes, sir. This number ranges, say starting from 1 to say 1 lakh, I can't say any number. So is there any specific
No. People
uh,
have defined this, right? Other students in the server who are doing the practice, right? They have done like this. They did not start from one.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Because in the free it was not coming, so I was wondering why it is not coming.
Yeah. Somewhere it might have been used.
Okay, okay.
Here,
Could
how
be.
many number ranges are there? See.
Yeah. Yeah, could be, could be.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Thanks.
So click on change intervals. I'm sorry, click on insert interval. Number is equal to $1. From number 4,501 to number 4,524. Don't use the same numbers in your practice. You get the error. Click on enter. Again, click on insert line. Number is equal to $2 from number 4,525 to 4,534. Click on save. Now, assign number ranges to vendor account groups. Path is same as above. Click on position. Account group is equal to SS27. Click on enter. Number range $1. Again, click on position. Account group is equal to SS2A. Click on enter. Number range $2. Click on save and enter. Now, define tolerance groups for vendors. This we will see after 10 minutes break. Let's have a break of 10 minutes. Yes, I am back. Ahmad, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, sorry for the delay, it's occurring, right? This time I take the dinner, right? So it's happening. 5 minutes late, 7 minutes late. Yeah. Step number 4. Define tolerance groups for vendors, right? Redo. Put heading. Tolerance groups for vendors. These are the upper limits. These are the upper limits below which these are the upper limits below which or equal to which below which or equal to which the payment differences of the vendors is automatically transferred to some predefined account like cash discount received account. Like cash discount received account. Means what? See, for example, vendor invoice 10,000, right? So vendor said, if you make the payment to vendor on 30th day, right, he will give us 3% cash discount. So today is the 30th day. So while making the payment, we verify whether there is any cash discount. And if any cash discount is there, we will reduce the cash discount. And for the remaining amount only, we issue the check. So today, we issued check for 9,700 after reducing 3% cash discount, right? So the difference of 300 is basically payment difference. At this point of time, we don't know whether it's a cash discount or not, right? It's a payment difference, right? But here, this 300 is the payment, this 300 payment difference is the cash discount received, right? That you know. But how the system understands? So in this case, when you push the payment of 9,700, the system has to transfer this 300 rupees to the cash discount received account by itself automatically. So how the system, you know, manual as a human being, you know, it's a cash discount, right? But how the system can understand that this 300 is a cash discount and it has to be created to cash discount received account? For that, you set up some upper limits. Suppose your defined upper limit is 1,000, right? Then the payment difference is less than this 1,000. Then the system will take this difference of 300 rupees to the cash discount received account. That is the use of the tolerance groups for vendors. This is just similar to tolerance groups for GL accounts. So path is SPRO, finance accounting, accounts receivable and accounts payable, business transactions, outgoing payments, manual outgoing payments, defined tolerances, transaction code OBA3. Transaction code is not there. Add the transaction code OBA3. Define tolerances. Click on new entries. Company code is equal to SS27. Tolerance group is equal to blank. Tolerance group is equal to blank. Name is equal to blank tolerance group for SS27. After that, you add still again. Under permitted payment differences. Under permitted payment differences. Gain is equal to 1000. Under the permitted payment differences, gain is equal to 1000. Loss is equal to 1000. Click on save. Table name T043G. Table name T043G. Now, write down again. The upper limits of the blank tolerance group. The upper limits of the blank tolerance group is applicable to all the vendors of the vendors who is not assigned with any tolerance groups. Who is not assigned with any tolerance group. Okay. Next. Creation of two GL accounts. So number one, we have to create inventory of raw material account. See, when you post the purchase invoice, right? The entity to be posted is debit inventory of raw material account and credit vendor account, respect to vendor account. So vendor account means it's a vendor master record. So vendor master record we create in the next steps. But at this point of time, you have to create the GL account, inventory of raw material account. Right? So here, it's a GL account again. So first you have to identify the account group under which the inventory of raw material account is to be created. See, inventory of raw material account is part of your current assets, right? So it is to be created under current assets, loans, and advances. And the defined number range is 2,100,000 to 2,199,000. So just like that, I'm taking 2,120,000. Transaction code FS00. GL account is equal to 2,120,000. Company code is equal to SS27. Go to menu GL account create. Account group is current assets, loans, and advances. Account group is equal to current assets, loans, and advances. Select balanced account. Short text is equal to inventory of raw material account. Short text is equal to inventory of raw material account. GL account long text is also inventory of raw material account. Go to control data tab. Account currency INR. Select only balances in local currency. Select to line item display. Sort key 001. Then go to create bank interest tab. Field status group G001. Click on save. Now, we have to create another GL account. Sundry creditors account. Creation of sundry creditors account as a reconciliation account. See, if you remember, in the vendor account group level, you selected reconciliation account as required entry. So as a result, in every vendor master record, compulsory, you have to enter the reconciliation account number. So what is this reconciliation account? It is the control account maintained in the general ledger to post all the business transactions affected in the subledger accounts, that is vendor accounts. Here, accounts payable, accounts receivables, and asset accounting. These three are called subsidiary ledgers. Subsidiary ledgers, right? And the general ledger is called main ledger. So in the subsidiary ledger, always you maintain the details of the postings, like purchase invoices, purchase returns, payments, etc., etc. Then the summary of these business transactions is also to be posted in the general ledger, because all the information which you require to prepare P&L account and balance sheet is taken from general ledger accounting. That's why for every business transaction, right, you post in accounts payable, account receivable, and asset accounting, one GL account should be updated in the general ledger. That GL account is called reconciliation account. So it is the control account maintained in the general ledger to post all the business transactions affected in the subledger accounts, that is vendor accounts. It is used to know the total amount of the vendors payable by the company at any point of time. Then the figure to be represented in the balance sheet is taken from this account. So as far as suppliers are concerned, you have to display, right, total sundry creditors in the balance sheet on the liability side under current liabilities. So total sundry creditors 100 crores or 20 crores, like that. So how much is the total? The total is to be displayed in the balance sheet. That total amount is taken from the reconciliation account. Then we cannot post manually into the reconciliation accounts. Let us take one example. Here we have only two vendors, vendor X, vendor Y. Vendor X and vendor Y, right? Now, from the vendor X, you purchased raw materials. Then we post the entry raw material account data to vendor X. By virtue of that entry, that purchase is posted to credit side of vendor X by raw materials 10,000. Out of this 10,000 invoice, you paid only 5,000. So when you make the payment to vendor, we post the entry debit to vendor X and credit to bank account. So by virtue of that entry, that 5,000 is posted to debit side. Similarly, from the vendor Y, you purchased materials 25,000, out of which you paid only 15,000. So assuming that we have only two vendors, and in each vendor, these are two business transactions, right? Now, with this, I want to know what is the total amount you have to pay to both the vendors together, vendor X and vendor Y. So what to do? You balance both the vendor accounts. Vendor X credit 10,000, debit 5,000, right? So still you have to pay 5,000 to vendor X. Okay. Then vendor Y, 25,000 credit, right? And you paid 15,000. So still you have to pay 10,000. So total, how much you have to pay? 15,000. Till now clear?
Yes, sir.
So in order to find out what is the total amount of payables as of now, what you have done? You have balanced both the vendor accounts and you have added the balance. But in your company, right, you have 1,000 vendors. You have 1,000 vendors. Now, your accounting year has started on 1/4/2024. So from 1/4/2024 till today, in every vendor account, there are some hundreds of invoices posted, some hundreds of payments, full payments and part payments, and some purchase returns. Means in every vendor account, there are hundreds and hundreds of debits and credits. With that situation, if you want to know what is the total amount to be paid to all the vendors together as on today, you have to go on balancing every vendor account of 1,000 vendors. Then we have to add the balances of individual vendors. How much time it will take? We don't know. It may take 1 week also. And even then there may be some clerical mistakes. So I want to know this information immediately. Your finance manager, due to some reason, he wants to take some financial decision, right? That's why he wants to know what is the total amount of payables. And also today you are preparing balance sheet. So in the balance sheet, you have to display sundry creditors. So how do you know this information immediately? How this information is readily made available to people in the organization, right? For that, we do some settings. Because of those settings, please, I will come to that. I will come to your questions. Because of these settings, right? When you post any business transaction in any of the individual vendor accounts, your GL account, sundry creditors, reconciliation account is automatically updated in the general ledger. For that, we do some settings like what? First, you create sundry creditors account as a reconciliation account. Then that reconciliation account is assigned in every vendor master record. As a result, when you post any business transaction like purchases, payments, purchase returns in any of the vendor account, right? Then that reconciliation account is also automatically updated. In this example, when you post raw materials purchase in the vendor X, your sundry creditors reconciliation account in the general ledger is updated. Then when you post the purchase in the vendor Y account, right? Then your sundry creditors reconciliation account again is updated automatically. When you post the payment to vendors, they are also updated in the sundry creditors reconciliation account automatically. Like that, we post the business transactions manually in accounts payable. Then these business transactions are updated in the general ledger in the reconciliation account automatically. And the sundry creditors is a GL account, right? So if you go to FS10N or FAGLB03, the system will display the balance immediately. You may be having 10,000 vendors, no issues. But just displaying the balance in FS10N in the sundry creditors account. FS10N is in classic GL, FAGLB03 in the new GL. So if you display any transaction code, the system will display the balance. That is the meaning of the reconciliation. That's why we have selected reconciliation account as required entry in the vendor account group level. Tell me, Anjarappa.
Sir, is there any similarities between retained earnings and reconciliation account?
Which one?
In retained earnings. While
Retained earnings.
yes, sir. While we
No,
are dealing with
retained earnings is different and reconciliation account is different.
yes, sir. Actually, there also we will carry forward the amounts to balance
Yes,
sheet and
it's a profit loss appropriation account.
okay.
And it balance the sundry creditors account also carried forward to next year.
Sir, that's why I'm asking.
No, the reconciliation account is different.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
Reconciliation account belongs to subsidiary ledgers.
subsidiary ledgers. We cannot
Yes.
create reconciliation account for GL account, sir.
No,
Uh-huh.
reconciliation
That's
account itself is a GL account,
yeah, okay.
which represents the summary of transactions in subsidiary ledgers.
Okay. It's like any frequent transactions happen on the whole sum amount, we will use reconciliation account, yes?
Sorry.
If transaction is happening continuously on the same vendor, same customer, we will use reconciliation account, yes?
No, not the same vendor, for any vendor. See,
Okay.
for the business transactions posted in the subsidiary ledgers, accounts payable, account receivable, asset accounting, right? These
Okay.
reconciliation accounts are also updated in the general ledger.
Okay. Thank you.
Now, when you display the line items in the sundry creditors, right? You can see buy raw material, to bank, etc., etc. When you see buy raw material, you can understand, okay, it's a purchase, but from whom? When you see to bank, you can understand, okay, it's payment, but to whom you have paid. Means the user wants to know, right, to whom the payment was done, by whom, from whom the raw material was purchased. That means these business transactions in the sundry creditors account are to be maintained according to vendor number. So the criteria according to which the business transactions are organized in the account, in the GL account is called sort key, right? So for the sundry creditors reconciliation account, the sort key will be 0, 1, 2. Till now, for every GL account, we have been using the sort key 0, 0, 1. But for the reconciliation account, we use 0, 1. So we have to create the sundry creditors account. Sundry creditors account is part of your current liabilities, right? And the defined number range is 1,500,000 to 1,599,000. So I'm taking 1,505,000. Just like that. So write down GL account is equal to 1,505,000. Company code SS27. Go to menu GL account, create. Account group is equal to current liabilities and provisions. Account group is equal to current liabilities and provisions. Select to balanced account. Short text is equal to sundry creditors account or total payables account or payables account. Short text is equal to sundry creditors account. GL account long text is also sundry creditors account. Go to control data tab. Account currency INR. And for the reconciliation accounts, we should not select only balances in local currency. It's a system mandatory requirement. See, only balances in local currency should not be selected for reconciliation accounts. Then reconciliation account for account type. See, reconciliation account for account type. So how the system knows that it is the reconciliation account? 1,505,000 is the reconciliation account. Select vendors. Reconciliation account for account type, vendors. Select vendors. Then select to line item display. Sort key 012 vendor number. Sort key 012 vendor number. Then go to create bank interest tab. Field status group G067. All within brackets reconciliation accounts. See, always for reconciliation accounts, right? The field status group is G067. Click on save. Now write one point here. Normally, in the real-time implementation projects, we don't select line item display, and we don't maintain sort key, for the reconciliation accounts. Comma, because it does not make any sense. Because of the large volumes of transactions. And also, the reconciliation accounts are used. to display the totals in the balance sheet. To display the totals in the balance sheet. See, even that is this is written in the SAP documentation also. See, line item display. See, you should not set the indicator for accounts where line item display in dialog does not make any sense due to the number of postings. These include tax accounts, receivables, means sundry debtors, payables, sundry creditors. But here I told you to select because I just want to make you understand the impact of the sort key and also assignment numbers in the line item display. Next, creation of vendor master record. Right down here.
Sir, I have one question.
Tell me.
Sir, this field status group, we have taken a G001 for GL, and for vendor we have taken a
Not vendor. Sundry creditors reconciliation account. It is also a GL account.
yeah. Okay.
So it's mandatory. Always for the
Okay.
reconciliation account, right? It's a mandatory.
Mhm.
Field
Okay.
status group
Always-
G067. Why it is
Always we have to
mandatory?
select.
I will explain you at the time of posting the invoices.
Okay. And for the GL, what we have created earlier, we have to always select Z001, right, sir?
G001, yes.
Okay.
Only for
Okay,
the
sir.
reconciliation accounts, it should be G067.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah. This impact, why G067 only has to be taken for reconciliation accounts? I'll explain you at the time of posting the transactions to vendor accounts.
So sure, sir. Sure.
Okay.
Thank-
Yeah. Creation of vendor master. Right down here. The vendor master record can be created. The vendor master record can be created only for FI module or only for MM module or both for FI and MM at a time. Both for FI and MM at a time. We can create the vendor master record. We can create the vendor master record only for FI. Only for FI in the transaction code FK01. In the transaction code FK01. There we can maintain the data. There we can maintain the data in the general data segment and the company code segment. And company code segment. Next, we can create the vendor master record only for MM. Only for MM. In the transaction code MK01. In the transaction code MK01. There we can maintain the data. There we can maintain the data in the general data segment. In the general data segment. And purchase data segment. In the general data segment and the purchase data segment. Next. We can maintain the vendor master record. We can create the vendor master record. Both for FI and MM at a time. Both for FI and MM. Both for FI and MM at a time. In the transaction code XK0. In the transaction code XK01. There we can maintain the data in the general data segment. Company code segment. Company code segment. And the purchase data segment at a time. So how to maintain the data in the purchase data segment, right? I will show you at the time of MM integration, right? For that, we need to do some more settings also, right? Those settings we will do in MM. So here I am creating the master record in XK0.
Sir, practically always vendor code has to be created in FI and
MM.
MM, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When MM is implemented.
Yeah.
Say, for example, sometimes what happens, vendors for expenses, right? They are created only in FI. Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir. In that case, MM is not required.
Yes,
Creation of
exactly.
the...
Exactly.
Okay.
Then we use the transaction FK01. Okay.
Yeah. Got it, sir. Got it. Thanks, sir.
So transaction XK01. Company code is equal to SS27. Account group SS27. Here we are creating the master record for the vendor from whom we are purchasing raw materials. So vendor account group is vendors for raw materials. Click on enter. Title is equal to company. Title is equal to company. Name is equal to Aishwarya Exports Private Limited. It is the name of the vendor. Aishwarya Exports Private Limited. See, if the name of the vendor is large, you can click on this More Fields button. Okay. Now, here you can enter vendor address, street name, house number, postal code, city. So, country IN. Suppose if the address of the vendor is larger, right? Again, you can click on this More Fields button. Now you can maintain complete address of the vendor. Then again, you can close it. Now you can maintain the post box number, postal code, right? Then you can maintain the telephone number of vendor, extension, mobile phone, fax number, extension, email address. So all this information you can maintain in the real time. So the accounts department of the company code will provide you all this information, right? So here we don't have all this information. This is the general data. This is the general data segment, right? Now, click on next skin button thrice. It's not thrice, 4 times. Click on next skin button 4 times. Here, in the training classes only, right? You click on next skin button 4 times. But in the real time, in every screen, you maintain the data. Like what? See, this is called next skin button. So if you click on the next skin button first time, right? One time, see, here you can maintain the tax information of the vendor, VAT registration number, type of business, type of industry, right? Tax office, tax numbers, right? And person subject to withholding tax, date of birth, his sex, place of birth, profession, etc., etc. So all this information you don't have here, right? So I told you to skip. Now click on next skin button second time. Here you maintain the bank information of the vendor. This is all general data segment. So bank information you have to maintain, like country, bank key. For the time being, bank key means IFSC code of the vendor bank branch, bank account number, account holder name. So this information is necessary to make the payments to vendors through bank transfers. So this is also part of general data. Here also we don't have this information. Then click on next skin button, third time. Here you maintain the contact person, name, telephone numbers, etc. Then fourth time. See, now you came to company code data. Look at the screen. Reconciliation account is mandatory field. So in the vendor account group SS27, you have double clicked on company code data and you have selected reconciliation account as a required entry, right? So reconciliation account is a mandatory field. So reconciliation account is equal to 1,05,005. Now listen to me carefully. You have created this reconciliation account 1,05,005 as a reconciliation account, right? Then it is assigned in every vendor master record. For example, we are assigning this reconciliation account 1,05,005 in the Aishwarya Exports Private Limited, right? So from now onwards, when you post any purchase invoice, purchase return, payment to this vendor, that transaction is also automatically updated in this account. That is the settings. These are the links. Then sort key 012. Cash management group A1. Cash management group A1 within brackets domestic payments. Within brackets domestic payments. Write down there. Write down there. The cash management group. The cash management groups are also called planning groups. Are also called planning groups. Every vendor account and customer account, should be assigned with the planning groups. This information is used. By the treasury management module, this information is used in the treasury management module for the purpose of cash planning. For the purpose of cash planning. Full stop. The cash management groups. The cash management groups are system defined. Are system defined. See here, domestic payments means the payments are to be entered in the, the payments to this vendor is to be made in the company code local currency. Domestic payments means that's the meaning. Then click on next screen button. Payment terms 0001. Within brackets, payment immediate. Payment terms 0001, payment immediate. See, these payment terms are already defined the system. 0001 means payable immediately. So for the time being, I am using system defined payment terms. Later on, we will see how to create our own payment terms. Then tolerance group blank. Tolerance group blank. So within brackets, we have defined one blank tolerance group for vendors. We have defined one blank tolerance group for vendor. We have defined blank tolerance groups for vendors. As a result, the upper limits of the blank tolerance group, are applicable to this vendor for the payment differences. Okay. Next, select check double invoice. Select check double invoice. Write down again. By selecting this checkbox, the system verifies if any invoice is posted second time, by mistake, if any invoice is posted second time by mistake, the system gives the warning message. The system gives the warning message. The system gives the warning message. By comparing purchase invoice number or purchase invoice amount or purchase invoice amount. Okay. Click on save. See, vendor 4,05,001 was created in the company code SS27. This number was taken from this account. Write down. Continue. When the vendor master record is created, for FI and MM, the system will update the following three tables. The system will update the following three tables. Number one, LFA1. LFA1. Vendor master record, general data table. Vendor master record, general data. Just a second, let me check. See, vendor master, general data. Next, number two, LFB1. LFB1. Vendor master record, company code data. Vendor master record, company code data. Number three, LFM1. Vendor master record, purchase data. Vendor master record, purchase data. Okay. Next, let us get one more vendor master record. Same procedure. Just look at this game. So company code is SS27. Account group SS27. Click on enter. Title is equal to company. Name is equal to Rahul Exports Limited. Country IN. Click on next screen button 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. See, here also reconciliation account mandate. Reconciliation account 1,05,505. Sort key 012. Cash management group A1. Click on next screen button. Payment terms 0001. Tolerance group blank. Other fields we'll discuss. What are the payment methods, all these things. Select check double invoice. Click on save. See, vendor 4,05,002 has been created. Then we have created two vendors. Then define document types and number in this. When you post the purchase invoice, the system will post an accounting document with the document type KR. So in order to identify individual accounting documents related to purchase invoices, you have to define the number range. When you post the payment to vendor, an accounting document is posted with the document type KZ. So for KZ, we have to define the number ranges. When you post the purchase returns or any vendor other document, the system will post an accounting document with the document type KA. So for KA, we have to define the number ranges. It is just similar to define the number ranges for SCA. Transaction code same, OBS7. Click on position. Document type is KR. Click on enter. Select KR document type. Click on details button. Observe the number range number 19. So for this number range number 19, we link to the number range intervals. Click on number range information. Company code SS27. Click on change intervals. See, the highest number till now we have used is 3 lakhs. Now you have to start from 3 lakh 1. Click on insert line. Number is equal to 19. Year is equal to 2024. From number 3 lakh 1 to number 4 lakhs. So we can post 1 lakh number of purchase invoices. Click on save and enter. Click on back arrow 3 times. After that, you add one sentence there. Deselect document type KR. Deselect document type KR. Click on position. Document type is equal to KZ. Click on enter. Select to KZ document type. Click on details button. See the number range number 15. Click on number range information. Company code SS27. Click on change intervals. See, biggest number we have used is 4 lakhs. Now you start from 4 lakh 1. Click on insert line. Number is equal to 15. Year is equal to 2024. From number 4 lakh 1 to number 5 lakhs. Click on save and enter. Click on back arrow 3 times. Again write down. Click on back button 3 times, right? After that, write down. Deselect document type KZ. Deselect document type KZ. Click on position. Document type is equal to KA. Click on enter. Select to KA document type. Click on details button. See the number range number 17. Click on number range information. Company code SS27. Click on change intervals. Click on insert line. Number is equal to 17. Year is equal to 2024. From number 5 lakh 1 to number 6 lakhs. Click on save and enter. Now you are ready to post purchase invoices. So posting of purchase invoice. This we will see next week. Any questions from anybody? First to raise your hands. I'll be coming one by one. Yeah, please, Santosh.
Sir, we spoke about the interest calculation for the reducing balance at a day
Okay,
end.
okay. So how about calculating interest on working capital loans, right?
Yeah, correct, sir.
See. Here, you have to define one interest indicator. Okay. After that, you have to define terms like monthly, etc., etc. Right? After that, you have to define one different rate of interest. Okay. All these are as usual. Then,
Yes, sir.
coming to time dependent terms. Define time dependent terms, right? Click on new entries. Interest calculation indicator you enter. Currency INR. Effective from 1/4/2024. Sequential number 01. Okay. Then
Yes,
term debit interest balance interest calculation. Okay. Reference rate of interest. You enter the reference rate of interest. Click on save. Click on next entry button. Interest calculation indicator, currency key, effective from sequential number 02. Term, debit interest balance interest calculation. Reference rate of interest you enter. Click on save. Sequential number 03, right? Debit interest balance interest calculation. Like that, 365 terms debit and 365 terms credit. Every day interest is to be calculated. Got my
Okay.
point?
Yeah, that means we have to create such a sequence for 365 days.
Yes, exactly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and so on.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, then see you next week.
Okay, sir. Thank
Good
you.
night and good day.
Yeah.